Hello and welcome to NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. I'm Kevin Ochsner. Thanks for joining us. Farming and ranching isn't just a way of life. They're businesses that require careful planning and skilled management to ensure long-term success. Beyond the day-to-day work, cattle producers must also think about the future, from managing finances and navigating taxes to positioning their operation for profitability for the next generation. I'm here with a knowledgeable group of people who can shed some light on this important topic. First, we have Mark Eisele, a rancher from Wyoming who also served as 2024 president of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Next is Kent Bacus, executive director of government affairs for NCBA. And our final panelist is Jeff Magee. He's a cattle producer from Mississippi who also served as the 2024 chair of NCBA's Tax and Credit Committee. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us on this show today to talk about a very, very important topic. I want to begin just conceptually for a minute, and the fact of the matter is there is a lot that goes into running a profitable cattle business, but beyond annual operating profits, what does it look like to treat cattle ranching and farming as a business? Mark?
Well, you have to make sure you separate the lifestyle from the business. It is still a business. If you want to enjoy the lifestyle, you have to take care of the business. So that means planning, means preparation, and bring your partners, family, or employees into the operation so everybody's up to speed.
That's great. Jeff, what would you add?
From a cow-calf perspective, they can't all be your pets. You have to treat the animals as a piece of equipment, which is what they are on paper. And so you have to keep records on the piece of equipment. Equipment breaks down. When it breaks down, you have two options. You either fix it or you get rid of it.
That's right. That's a great point. I've had people tell me before not to name a cow for that reason. It's a number, not a name. You don't see hog producers naming their pigs, right? Kent, what would you add?
Well, I would just say that, when it comes to the business aspect of it, it's just like everything else. It's about the relationships and making sure you have a tax preparer that you trust, just like you would your attorney, and also just making sure on the finance side that you've got good relationships with all of your lenders. It's important that you have those records and that you're able to have a good assessment of the value of your business, your strengths, your weaknesses, and where you may need some help.
Jeff, let's come back to you. You prompted a question relative to just objectivity, right? And our business is filled with lots of tradition and lots of emotion, quite honestly. How do we separate that from the business aspects of our business?
Well, like I said, you have to get away from the pet mentality, okay? These animals that's your business. You're trying to produce income. They have to work. They have to, from the cow-calf, they have to calve every year. Will they rebreed every year? Will they raise a good calf or a bad calf? So you have to keep records to keep up with that.
Mark, you come from Western ranching heritage. How do you balance the tradition and emotion with the financial and business aspects of your operation?
The reality is you can't make decisions if you don't have the numbers. If you don't have the knowledge in front of you, you can't make good informed decisions. So we try to keep good records on our cattle. We ID them, we run through that process. We're in some programs that becomes mandatory anyway, and we really like that a lot. And everybody is cross-trained on that, so we understand numbers first, the decisions come after that.
That's good. Ken, I think you mentioned the words business plan, and I want to start with that and say, how can a well-structured business plan not only help an operation make an annual profit, but actually set itself up for long-term success? So we're not just surviving, we're actually positioning our business to thrive.
That's right. Well, and just like, I think just like all the other aspects of your operation, where you have variables, the weather changes, input cost change. If you have a business plan and you know the goals of where you're trying to go, then it helps you stay on track, because there's a lot of distractions that are out there. but it also lets you know kind of the health of your business and how to gauge that. These are multi-year plans, these are annual reviews, but it's also just regular checks with the folks that help run your business to make sure that everybody's on the same page, you're all going in the same direction, and everybody has access to the information they need to make the best choices.
Mark, what does business planning look like for your operation?
It's a great question. I think Kent touched on something really important. You got to have goals. It's your short term, maybe 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. Where are you going to be at? Are you going to pay some things down? You're going to pay some things off? Are you going to invest to improve the operation? And so that record keeping, in addition to that, planning is important. We have folks, my family, that actually keeps those records and they understand what they have to keep. We work closely with our tax professional, our estate planner, those kind of things. It's kind of all rolled into one. They're separate entities, but they ultimately work together.
I'm guessing, Jeff, your history as a CPA, you've seen lots of very good and some not so good business plans. What would you add?
As a numbers man, if you formulate a business plan on paper and it won't work on paper, it's not going to work in the pasture. If you formulate a business plan that you can make it work on paper, you work that plan, you follow up on it. There's an old saying, plan your work, work your plan.
It's good guidance. And you've all mentioned to some level, I think, Mark, you just shared it a moment ago, the importance of data and making data-driven decisions. And in order to make data-driven decisions, you first have to capture data. So give us your thoughts on data-driven decision making.
Well, we do it for a lot of the day-to-day stuff. You know, what kind of materials and supplies are we using? What are they costing us? Do we pre-plan those purchases? If they're larger, how do we depreciate them? Do we accelerate that? Or do we not? That's why the tax code is so important, and that keeps changing. So we've had a moving goalpost to hit. We'd like some certainty in that. That is a huge help. Then you have to collect that data, either write it down or put it in your electronic device, and then transpose it, put it together, get those numbers in front of you, and then share those, work those with your accountant and your tax preparer.
Jeff, do you have any thoughts relative to either good ways to capture data or good ways to analyze and utilize that data and turning it into valuable decisions?
I don't have any ways of capturing it other than manually.
Yeah.
I'm not electronic yet. So as I alluded to earlier, you have to keep records on those cows from the cow-calf perspective. Is that cow producing a calf every year? Is it producing a good calf every year? And so
that's critical, isn't it?
It is very critical.